Hey everyone, so let's talk Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This is probably going to be pretty scattershot, like most of my videos, really. So I may or may not get into spoilers. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, sometimes, yeah, whatever. You're watching a video titled "Let's Talk Jurassic World," so you should know what you're getting into already. What did I think about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom? Okay, so let's start off. Let's talk about. I just want to preface this by talking about how my experience with Jurassic Park as a series. I don't really remember when I saw the first Jurassic Park movie. When did it come out? Oh man, I gotta look it up now. Not gonna this about anymore. It's just because no Jurassic World, Jurassic Park release date. When did Jurassic Park come out? Okay, Jurassic Park came out in 1993, so I would have been 6 years old. I don't remember it coming out. I don't think I saw it in theaters. I don't know. Maybe. I doubt it. I might have been too young and we didn't really go to the theaters all the time. Yeah, I wasn't a big dinosaur kid. I had like a level of it. I had a level of interest in dinosaurs, but I was never one of those kids that was obsessed with dinosaurs. And really, the first Jurassic Park movie I remember. I mean, I know I saw it, and I know we had it on video at some point. And then I remember Jurassic World lot. I'm getting my names confused. I remember Jurassic Park: The Lost World came out in theaters, and I remember seeing that. I remember liking it a lot, and then I didn't see Jurassic Park 3 in theaters. I remember wanting to see it in theaters. I just didn't get the chance to because I lived far over an hour away from a movie theater and I didn't have a car. When I did actually get around to seeing it, which on DVD, I was kind of glad I didn't see in theaters because it wasn't that good. So that takes us up to Jurassic World, and I quite like that film. I will definitely recognize the fact that it is not as good as Jurassic Park, and it definitely has its flaws. But just as a sort of a entertaining film to go see, and then yeah, even rewatch sometimes, it holds up. It's I think it had an original enough idea to go off of that I was interested in the beginning, and it even though the characters were somewhat shallow and the mm, plot with the characters maybe a little simplistic, I think it was entertaining, and I think that's the biggest thing. You have to look at with Jurassic World versus Jurassic Park. Jurassic World, that's all it's trying to be is entertaining. Really, it's a blockbuster for a blockbuster's sake. And yeah, I mean, even though you could argue that all films are like made for the sake of making money, I think some films do have more artistic intent behind them than others. And Jurassic World does not have as much artistic intent. It's more about making money and making an entertaining film. Whereas the original Jurassic Park, you know, it helps. I think that it's based off a book, and I think it goes back to the idea of man versus nature, man trying to control nature, not being able to, and or even just the idea of like man trying to control these systems, which and thinking he has control over it, where he really doesn't. The illusion of control. So that takes us up to Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Now, when I saw the trailers for this, so the first trailer mostly just showed the volcano bits, and I was not excited. It looked like they showed the whole movie. I think they came out pretty quickly though, saying that no, that's just like the first act of the movie, which yes, it is, and I think they probably could have made it a little bit more clear in the first trailer without showing everything that this is just this beginning of the movie. But that's okay. And the second trailer came out, and I was not excited for it at all. So here's the thing: a lot of people talk about how Jurassic World just repeats the first Jurassic Park, and this what I was saying before I saw it is it looks exactly like a remix of The Lost World, and yeah, that's what it was. It was a remix of The Lost World. It's not a remake of The Lost World. It's just a remix. They moved some things around. Some things happen slightly differently, but it's really just playing off the same exact plot beats. They go back to the island, like they went back to the island in The Lost World. There's a military organization, just like in The Lost World. They ended up they're trying to take the dinosaurs off the island for profit, just like The Lost World. And there's even a breakout scene, just like The Lost World, except this time, instead of them setting the dinosaurs free while they're on the island before they get taken off the island, they're setting the dinosaurs free off the island. Which, yeah, we'll talk about that later. It was just looking like a remix, and I wasn't excited to see it. I sort of got dragged along to it, and it was okay. I think it was entertaining enough to watch. It was not as entertaining as Jurassic World, and I don't think I would watch it again. It is worth watching once, I would say. Just for like, hey, if you don't have anything else to do, especially if it's like on Netflix, it's one of those things. You watch it and you're like, yeah, okay. I think, if you really like Jurassic Park movies, it's worth a watch in the movie theater because of the sound and picture quality. It's just gonna be better in the movie theater. But if you don't have the money, it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's necessarily worth it. Okay, so some of my thoughts about the movie after having seen it. It turned out she was a clone. And that matters why? Okay, so, I mean, oh god, like, I think there was a germ of an interesting idea there. The idea of, like, Richard Hammond's partner, that he had a partner to begin with, which is never really explored, which I found a little disappointing. You can't just really introduce something big like that. Like, oh, by the way, Richard Hammond, when he was first starting Jurassic Park, had a partner that you never heard about, and they had a falling out. And then they don't really explore that. It really just seemed like they didn't have the actor to play Hammond anymore because he passed away. So they just needed to use someone else, and rather than recast the character, they made up a new character and said he was around the whole time, except not really. And I think, yeah, it would have been okay in the movie if they had explored it somewhat or did something with it, and they don't. And then the second part of that is they introduce the idea that at the end of the film, you find out she's a clone, and that was, part of their falling out, I guess. Which, whoa, you they just revealed that, like, saying they had the technology, they have human cloning, and apparently they haven't told anyone else. Or is this a part of the Jurassic World, the universe, that they can clone humans? Is this just something that's around and nobody mentions? Is human cloning a thing? Well, because I would think that would be a huge thing that he was able to successfully clone a human. And has he told anybody? Does anybody know this? These are all questions that are not going to be answered. And I very much doubt would ever be answered in the Jurassic World sequel. And the other thing about her being a clone, is what why like why in the plot of the movie. Like I'm talking about like when you're writing the movie, you have the idea of her being a clone, but in terms of like story development and what happens in the story, it doesn't really matter. The only part where it really comes up that she's a clone is when she sets the dinosaurs free. And honestly, you don't need that. It's not a big enough thing for her to be a clone just to have her set the dinosaurs free because they're like me. Okay, honestly, them setting the dinosaurs free is kind of stupid, but you could if you could have honestly in that same thing just said she's a kid, she liked dinosaurs, so she set them free, or heck, she's been in that house the whole time. She's like a caged animal herself. You just go with that comparison. They're like me because they're trapped. You don't have to have this clone thing because it's not gonna mean anything. Why would you write that? It has no impact on the rest of the script. Her being a clone, other than like it sort of explains why you know, it just explains why certain things were shot in the movie. It doesn't really explain, why they put it in the movie. You have the obvious thing where like they don't show the picture, and then even you see the picture, it's not clear why this is important, and then you find out later, oh, it's important because who you thought was her mother, well, it's just her, the original, and she's the clone. And it doesn't mean anything. Why? This is one of those things, it feels like it was put together either by a committee or by a writer had this really cool idea. What if the guy, they're thinking about they can't put Hammond in the movie, so they got to put someone else in the movie. So they write that character, and they're like, oh, what if part of the reason they had a falling out is he wanted, he cloned his daughter, and Hammond's like, no, that's too far. We can clone dinosaurs, but not people. And then they're like, oh yeah, that's a real cool idea. Let's put that in the movie. And what else should we do with it? I don't know. Let's just put it in the movie. Throw everything we can in the movie. There were a lot of rolling moments in this movie. Okay, so the other thing I got to say about the ending of the movie, setting the dinosaurs free. I'm sorry. That creates Jurassic World. I get the idea that like other people and other governments getting the dinosaur DNA basically, and now they can clone it because let's just assume they have the technology as long as they get the DNA, and that's the biggest thing. Going back to Jurassic Park is really the company. What do you say? Company sabotage, and then like having DNA as this sort of copyright thing that they're trying to, I don't remember that character, what's his name, but the one guy who was trying to steal the DNA because it's just company sabotage, and they're just they want to do the same thing, but they don't have the DNA, so they want to just steal it. But here's the thing. The way the movie presents it is it makes it seem like the dinosaurs she set free, not the dinosaurs who were sold, and then that those people now have. I think they showed like maybe a couple, but they kept emphasizing in the shots of the movie that it's about the dinosaurs that she set free going out, which seemed like sometimes it seemed like the dinosaurs in that small room, and other times it seemed like a lot more. It seemed very unclear how many dinosaurs were there. I don't know if the people making this movie really went through and figured out how many dinosaurs were supposed to be that they rescued off the boat. It kind of seems like they didn't really care. They just like sometimes it's this amount, and then other times it's like it seemed like a whole lot more dinosaurs, and it just seemed like they wanted to get to the point to where the title Jurassic World actually made sense. And I saw people talking about that after the first Jurassic World came out, and I sort of rolled my eyes. And I had the same reaction when it happened in the movie. I rolled my eyes because you know what's going to happen with dinosaurs getting loosed out. Sure, there'll be some incidents, and then humans are going to kill them. It's not like they're going to be able to populate fast enough that humans aren't able to control them, and we have to learn to live with dinosaurs. Please tell me you're not going to make a Jurassic World sequel where dinosaurs are being treated like a zombie threat, where dinosaurs are spreading throughout the world. Please tell me you're not going to make that. Oh man. What would happen would be that they would get killed off by people. Animal control, people just with guns. I don't know exactly. Come on, this is America. Those dinosaurs are gonna get killed. Trophy hunters, you name it, and they're not a protected species, so they're just wiped out. I'll just note on it because I feel like a lot of people have already talked about it, but the volcano, yeah, I don't know about, I haven't looked it up, uh, so I don't know of the idea of a once dormant, thought to be dormant volcano suddenly becoming active, is how realistic that is. Yeah, I'm going to say it doesn't sound very realistic. I don't know. I haven't done the research. If you happen to know the answer to that, please feel free to comment below because I would like to know, or message me. Actually, I will say, compared to some of the other movies I've watched recently, especially big blockbusters, is that it actually felt reasonably well paced. It didn't feel rushed like some of the movies I've seen recently, or like the recent Star Wars movies. A lot of them have just felt rushed, like they don't take any time. And this movie definitely moves at a very fast pace, but I would say, I don't know. I just watching it, and maybe because the plot isn't really that deep, and there isn't a much of a backstory to go into. It felt reasonably well paced. It didn't. It felt like it took enough time to get going at the beginning. It didn't take that long, but it did take a few moments. Bryce Dallas Howard's character, Claire Deering, has a couple scenes before she goes to Chris Pratt's character Owen, and then they have that sort of scene where they're talking, which is a little bit longer, and then before they get to the island. So it feels like it takes a little bit of time, which is good. And they have those beginning scenes with the girl and setting that up, and I would say yes, compared to the Star Wars movies, the more recent Star Wars movies, this feels very well paced. That's all I have to say about that. The other big thought I had about this movie after watching it, it felt like everything was spoiled all the big moments were spoiled in the previews. For instance, when I was watching the movie, as I saw the guy running toward the helicopter, like the moment you see him running, really the moment they drop down the ladder, you know what's gonna happen. You saw it in the trailer. Like, now I'm not normally one to be pointing out things and saying, "Well, I knew that was gonna happen because I saw it in the trailer and I watched the trailer 42 times." So but I only watched the trailer maybe once or twice, and the moment they drop down the ladder, I know what's going to happen. And not only that, it's the same thing that happened. It's the same thing, not the same basic same idea. It's a little different, but it's the same kind of thing that happened in the last Jurassic World, where you have, I don't know what that dinosaur's name, but the big whale dinosaur comes out and jumps up and bites that. They already did that gag, and now they did it at the beginning of the film. Well, I guess you could say that they got it out of the way. That is one of the things I don't. Sometimes I think they go a little overboard with copying some of the same shots, and I don't know why they do that. I don't know why, from a creative standpoint, they do that. I guess they're like, well, this is in the same world, and they go from the point of view, especially I noticed the introduction of Claire was basically the same with the elevator. It's a different elevator, and then her when she goes to talk to Owen is basically the same kind of setup, and not in terms of why she's there, but in the terms of she's going to go. She goes to Owen to get his help, and he's working on something, and she's talking to him outdoors. It's the same kind of camera shots, and it feels a little lazy in that way. I don't know if they're going setting up the writing the film, and they're just or even just the planning on the filming, doing the pre-production for it, and they're just getting just going from shot to shot, and they're thinking, well, we gotta scene from scene to we have to do an homage to the previous film and the way they show these characters. But it seems a little lazy, and it seems like there'd be more interesting. Maybe you could try something different. Maybe, I don't know. You could try. And I think I saw somebody else predict Jeff Goldblum is only at the beginning and the end of the film. I think I saw maybe someone say, it would be. I think I saw someone say it would be disappointing if Jeff Goldblum's part was only at the very ending as like a cap to it, and partly right, the beginning and ending, and you could have cut his part out of the movie entirely, and it wouldn't have had much effect. Well, especially the ending part could have been cut entirely and no effect. I'm not even sure the way it's presented in the film. Is that happening at the end of the film, or is that just footage from what was happening at the beginning of the film? I don't know. Was he wearing different clothes? I didn't notice. I couldn't tell. Well, I mean, I didn't remember from what he was wearing at the beginning of the film or not. Unnecessary. Just to set up the fact that they need to go to the island to get to rescue the dinosaurs, and to have someone in the trailer, really, because you could have had anybody do that role, and it would have had the same effect on the movie's plot. So it was really it was disappointing that he didn't show up at some point and have some interaction with the characters. Like, you really didn't need him in the movie. You could have had anybody else do that. It would have had the same basic effect. The only thing that is unique to his character is the fact that Ian's point of view I would say definitely be that they should let the dinosaurs die. The other thing I have to say about this movie compared to the original Jurassic Park, and it's sort of something that it's just become more and more prevalent as the sequels have gone. The dinosaurs have gone from being animals, really, to being monster-eating machines. Because I swear, the new hybrid dinosaurs, the Indoraptor, fully eats like I don't know how many people. There's no time skips in this movie, so once they get off the island, this is all happening within a single day, or even hours. It's not really clear. It seems like hours because it's at basically when they get to the manor place, it's night, and then it stays night, and then it rains, and yeah, so this is all within some hours. This Indoraptor is fairly big, but it's not big for a dinosaur. It's bigger than a raptor, but it's like, I don't know, you can't tell size wise, but it eats several people whole, and then it's still trying to eat more people. It definitely eats that one guy, and then I would think it's at least heavily implied it eats the people that were in the elevator. That's at least 4 people, and then I think it eats someone else, and it's still hungry. I get that. The whole thing with the Jurassic Park movies is, they're dinosaurs, and you have to make them scary, and then it has to be eating people to be scary. But animals generally don't eat, and then continually being able to eat and continually being able to be at its fittest after having eaten so much. So I think it's just a little stupid. Oh god, it's stupid that the dinosaurs are able to just eat and eat and eat, and they're just monsters at that point. They're not animals. They're not like they're not. They're just some sort of horrific monsters, which I wish I could think of it. I saw a YouTube video that was talking about Jurassic Park. Maybe I'll link a description in the comments if I can find it. I'll have to look through my history. And the guy was talking about how in the Jurassic Park sequels, they really become more horror oriented, and then that the dinosaurs are just monsters. And I think that's part of the problem with the sequels, is they do just treat the dinosaurs like monsters, and that's why they don't work. Jurassic Park is not just a horror movie. And that's where I got cut off from my video, so I totally lost my train of thought. But let me think if I can think of anything else about Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. The title, by the way, I don't think it matters that much, but I do think it's interesting that it has no. I mean, it doesn't matter what the movie's called, but at the same time, the title means nothing. I don't know if people had any thoughts about that. I don't think I saw anything online. It just occurred to me right now that the title had no significance. But then again, The Lost World. Yeah, I guess the titles to these movies don't really mean anything to what's happening in the movie. It's just we don't want to call it Jurassic World 2. Though they did call Jurassic Park 3. They didn't come up with a subtitle for 3. I don't know why. Well, it kind of shows in the rest of the movie. They just didn't. It was a very lazy movie. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Was it good? It was watchable. Like, I don't want to say I don't know. It's hard for me to rate movies because I tend to be like a very yeah. When I like something, I'll be like, yeah, I liked it. When I really didn't like something, I'll be like, yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't that great. I'm never like, I loved it. I hated it. It was the worst movie ever. And this. Even more, it's just like the middle. Like, I watched it, I enjoyed myself watching it. I had a lot of popcorn. The seats was comfy. I was in AMC Dolby with AMC Prime at 42nd Street and near Times Square. So yeah, it was comfy. And I had it was entertaining to watch. I don't think I'd watch it again, but yeah, if you just have the money to burn and you don't have anything to do for the day, it's a fun time. Anyway, those were my thoughts on Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Hopefully, you weren't too bored by it. Maybe you had some thoughts about it yourself. I don't know. Maybe you disagreed with me, in which case maybe you should comment about it, and I may or may not respond to it. And there's a whole lot of maybes there. Not my fault. See you in the next video.